Welcome to The Dimensional Shift, where starseeds, quantum spiritualists, and alien enthusiasts gather to shift time, space, and dimensions. I'm Revi, your guide, and this is a universe according to me. In our last episode, we talked about the 4 kind of reality checks we can have whenever we're wondering about if we're in the right place at the right time and making the right choices. These include the Mandela effect, which shows if we're in alignment with the past, synchronicities, which shows if we're in alignment with the present, premonitions, which show if we're in alignment with the future, and deja vu, which shows if we're in alignment with parallel realities. These work because of the way that the universe is set up in this kind of cascade of effects and the way that matter and energy and consciousness kind of work together to create the universe. Now, there are 4 sections of the universe that I have access to at this time, and they include time and space, the matrix, energy, and consciousness. So let's start with time and space first. If you think of the analogy of a train tracks and the fuel that the train needs to have to go forward, and the person who is driving the train, time and space are the railroad. They are the basis of the universe, and they are what support everything. We can think of this as the dark or antimatter that fills up something like 60 to 70% of the universe. It's a very large amount of space and unknown substance that we have yet to be able to define. It is essentially the space between. It's the liminal space that we cannot define. We don't know what lives there or what is there. And so we can think of it as the supporting player in the universe. Now, again, we are talking about natural time rather than the tick-tock of the clock that tells you where to be. The natural time that the leaves fall off the trees in the fall, the flowers grow in the spring, and of course that's a very earth-centric type of thing, but the time that passes naturally. This supports the matrix of matter, and matter can bend the time-space continuum due to gravity. Einstein theorized this many, many years ago, and it has started to be proven in a more definitive way. And because of this, we're starting to understand that, yes, it can very much bend space and time. And so laying on top of the time and space continuum is the matrix. The matrix is essentially matter. And if you think about matter, you can think of it as a math grid where you have across the top, you have A, B, C, D, and then across the left-hand side, you have 1, 2, 3, 4. And so in your first spot, you would have A1, and your second spot, you would have B1, and then C1, D1, and then you go down to the next line, and you'd have A2, and etc. And so when you start learning how to manifest and to timeline hop, you will learn that this is basically the genetic sequence of our reality. And each A1 or each B3 is a factor or a variable in this reality. And because of this, our consciousness can choose what variables it wants to put into play. And we can easily switch things out. We can easily change the trajectory of where we are going just by switching things out. If you were to think of our analogy, this would be the train. The train is moving forward on the support of the track, which is the time-space continuum, and it's propelled forward by the force that is energy. Energy is the third factor in our reality. Energy is basically the motion. In our analogy, it's the fuel that causes interactions using force, such as gravity. If you go back to the space-time continuum being affected by gravity, it's the force that pushes things forward. It gives matter fuel to keep going. There's no real consciousness to this type of forward motion. It's just following the laws of nature and moving forward and doing things like filling a vacuum or the way that life propels forward no matter what here on Earth. If you want to get into the purpose of the motion, then we'll move on to consciousness. And this is the highest section of our reality and universe. Consciousness is thought. Consciousness is intent. Consciousness is purpose. If you were to think about our analogy, this would be the conductor. It gives us direction, it gives us purpose, it gives us a mission, it moves us forward with purpose. There is a clear plan of action, and we know where we are going, what we are doing, and we can easily make changes to the path. The interesting thing about manifestation and time shifting is that you have to go back one step only. So if we have consciousness, we have to go back to energy. If your energy is clear, then you can move back to the matrix. If your matrix is in order, then you can go back to time and space. You cannot go directly from consciousness to time and space. You can't just say, okay, I'm going to shift my timeline by jumping into next year where I'm thin and skinny and beautiful. You have to put the rest of the things in order first. Because of this, the train ride is more satisfactory. The life that we live has more purpose. If we could snap our fingers and have anything, life would have no true purpose. Now, there are 3 gateways to manifestation, and I often balk at throwing these out because there's a lot of privilege involved in these, and I don't want anyone to think that I don't understand your struggle, and I don't want anyone to think that your struggle isn't valid. It is valid, and everyone on this planet has some sort of privilege over another. That being said, we want to make sure we're not using excuses. You know you best. And so if you think I'm making excuses, stop making excuses. If you think, I literally cannot do this because of XYZ, it's not within my paradigm right now, that is totally valid, it's totally legit, and I appreciate that. And please don't be hard on yourself because we all have areas of our life where we suffer from that kind of issue. So the gateways to manifestation are, ironically, time. Do you have the time to make the manifestation happen? Are you willing to take the time to put in the work to make the manifestation happen? This is kind of the basis for that time-space reality, that time-space dimension. If you cannot make the time work, you will not be able to pass the gateway of, will this manifestation come to fruition? The next one is energy and attention. I've put a slash there because I don't like using the word energy because people think of physical energy, and that's not really how it's supposed to be meant. The energy I'm talking about is, do I have the energy to pursue this goal? Do I have the attention span? Do I have the ability to put in the work that it takes to make it happen? The last one is, do I have the resources? And I use the term resources because I don't like talking about pure money because money is a hot topic and money can be contentious. But you may have other resources you can use, such as old things lying around, or people you can use to have help you, or going to different places, libraries, shelters, food banks, things like that to help make your dream a reality. It's not limited to just money. It's where are you willing to find the resources to help you manifest your dream. And again, these kind of go hand in hand with time being time-space. The resources would be the matrix, and energy and attention would go to energy. And of course, your consciousness is what's driving it all. Your consciousness is what's problem solving and creating these pathways for you to manifest your dream. in the way that you want it to manifest. So then we come to the question of, what if my dream doesn't manifest? What does that mean? Did I do something wrong? Is there something blocking me? Is there healing I need to do? Any of those questions can be answered yes or no. The thing I've noticed the most is that when a manifestation doesn't happen, it goes back to the idea that, are you willing to pay the price to manifest your dream? I put a blog post on my blog Saturday on October 30th, I believe, talking about, are you willing to give up what it is that you need to give up to manifest that dream? And sometimes, either consciously or on a higher conscious level, that answer is no. If what needs to be given up is, say, a person in your life that you're not willing to give up, or your job, or a hobby, activity, something you love, then maybe right now the best thing you need to do is just sit with it and understand that this life is what it is right now. And when I'm willing to give up and pay that price, I can make that manifestation happen. And a lot of people who sell this idea of, you just have to hustle, you just have to think positive, you just have to do the work, don't understand that a lot of us aren't willing to give up whatever it is in order to make that dream a reality. And there's no wrongness in that. There's a lot of things that I want to manifest that I'm just not willing to give up whatever it is for. If it's a creature comfort, maybe that creature comfort, like, Netflix and chill or whatever, maybe that creature comfort is the only thing keeping me sane right now. And if I were to jump into the reality that I'm exercising 3 times a day and watching my weight and eating healthy, it would take up all my time and I wouldn't have any of those creature comforts, and I would have burnout very, very quickly. So you need to stop and think about, is it something I'm willing to pay the price for? And if it's not, that's okay. Maybe someday it will be. Coming full circle here, I just want to say thank you so much for listening. I hope that you look forward to another Dimensional Shift episode coming soon. If you want to check out more of my stuff, I have a website, dimensionalshifter.com. It has a lot of the transmissions and the universal data that I'm downloading that is really helpful for putting things in this life in perspective. This is Revi signing off.